You're at a gathering. Could be a bar, a conference, a wedding. Doesn't matter. Across the room, there's someone. They're not the loudest. Not the funniest. Hell, they barely speak. But when they do, the entire circle goes quiet. Leans in. Their words land like stones in still water. Each one creates ripples you can actually feel. 20 minutes later, when everyone's scattered, people are still repeating what they said. Still thinking about it. Then there's you. You've talked more. Much more. You've shared stories, cracked jokes, offered opinions on everything from politics to the best pizza in town. You've tried. God, you've tried. And what do you get? Polite nods. Glazed eyes. That specific brand of smile people give when they're already planning their escape route. You leave exhausted, throat dry from all that talking. They leave energized, having barely said 100 words. Here's what's eating at you. You don't know why. Why their silence has weight and yours feels like desperation. Why their few words matter and your many don't. It's not volume. You're louder. It's not humor, you're funnier. So what is it? Weight. That's what they have. That's what you're missing. And weight doesn't come from talking more. It comes from knowing when to shut up. From meaning every syllable that leaves your mouth instead of decorating sentences to impress strangers. The Stoics understood something modern psychology is just now catching up to. Attraction isn't addition. It's subtraction. Strip away the performance. Stop seeking validation in every sentence. The moment you stop needing attention is the moment you command it. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. There are 6 phrases, 6 specific combinations of words, that change how people experience you. Not because they are magic spells. Because they reveal something true about who you are. Dr. Albert Mehrabian's research revealed, your words account for only 7% of your impact. Your tone? 38%. Your body language? 55%. These 6 phrases, when you actually mean them, align all 3 channels. Your words, your tone, your presence, all saying the same thing. That's the Stoic difference. Intent over technique. Being over performing. 73% of conversations are forgotten within 24 hours. Most communication is noise. You're not boring. You're just speaking the language of forgettable people because everyone's terrified of the alternative. Silence, uncertainty, saying less and meaning more. Let's begin. Phrase 1, I could be wrong. 3 words that feel like surrender. Your gut rejects them immediately. Because you've been taught that uncertainty is weakness. That conviction separates winners from losers. Watch any dinner table when politics comes up. 2 people defending opinions like their lives depend on it. Voices rising. Faces flushing. Everyone else suddenly very interested in their food. Here's the cost. Trust? Gone. When you defend every opinion like gospel, people stop trusting any of your opinions. Intellectual growth? Impossible. You can't learn what you already know. Socrates, called the wisest man in Athens, said, true knowledge exists in knowing you know nothing. Marcus Aurelius, running an empire, wrote, everything is just an opinion. The most powerful man in the world reminding himself daily that his beliefs weren't facts, they were perspectives. Modern psychology calls it Dunning-Kruger. People with the least knowledge have the most confidence. Experts speak in probabilities. Amateurs speak in absolutes. Here's the better approach. You're in a disagreement. You state your position, then add, but I could be wrong. Watch what happens. Their aggression can't land. You can't fight someone who's not defending a position to the death. Their counter-argument suddenly has nowhere to go. Neuroscience explains why. Certainty triggers defense mechanisms. But uncertainty? That triggers curiosity. Suddenly they're not attacking, they're exploring. Business negotiation, here's what I'm thinking for pricing, but I could be wrong about what makes sense for your situation. You just invited partnership instead of creating a power play. Relationships, I think I understand what's happening, but I could be wrong. This opens communication instead of shutting it down. When you embrace intellectual humility genuinely, people seek your opinion specifically because you don't force it down their throats. Epictetus said most of what we fight about isn't truth, it's our attachment to being right. Certainty is brittle. One contradicting fact and it shatters. Certainty is lonely. You can't connect with people you're trying to defeat. I could be wrong. Say it when you state beliefs. Not as false modesty. As recognition that truth matters more than being right. If you're still watching, hit subscribe to Stoic Way. What comes next builds on this foundation. Phrase 2, teach me. 2 words intelligent people would rather die than say. Sounds weak, right? Like you're giving someone else the high ground. Here's what actually happens in most conversations. Combat. Someone mentions something they know about, and immediately you're scanning your database to match them. To prove you're not ignorant. They say, I just got back from Japan. You interrupt, oh, I went there 3 years ago. Let me tell you about this restaurant. You hijacked their experience and made it about yours. They don't remember your restaurant. They remember you didn't care about their trip. Zeno of Citium founded Stoicism by asking questions. He made himself the student even when he could have played the master. Cato the Younger surrounded himself with teachers his entire life, not because he was stupid, but because he was wise enough to know every human knows something he didn't. Harvard study, 2017. People who ask questions are rated significantly more likable. But the questions must be genuine. People smell fake curiosity. Here's what you do. Someone mentions expertise. You say, teach me. Then shut up. Lean in. Actually listen. Why smart people resist this? Vulnerability. Your ego hates admitting you don't know something. But watch what happens neurologically. The Ben Franklin effect. People who do favors for you end up liking you more. When someone teaches you, they invest in you. And humans protect their investments. Plus dopamine, sharing expertise makes their brain release dopamine. You just made them feel good. The status paradox, lowering yourself elevates you. By making them the teacher, you become someone worth teaching. Someone secure enough to not pretend. Professional networking, I saw your work on that campaign. Teach me how you thought through that. You just created a mentor, not a competitor. Romantic interest mentions painting, teach me what you see that I might miss. You invited them to share how they see the world. That's connection. Even conflicts, I'm clearly missing something. Teach me how this looks from your side. Can't fight someone asking to understand you. Marcus Aurelius started his meditations by listing everyone he learned from. The Emperor of Rome began his private journal by acknowledging his teachers. You never stop learning because you never know everything. Teach me. Say it to anyone who knows something you don't, which is everyone about something. Phrase 3, I'm listening. 3 words that separate humans from robots. You think you already listen. Everyone does. But here's what actually happens. Someone's talking, and while they're talking, you're planning your response. Waiting to jump in with your story. That's not listening. That's performing attention while being absent. Average attention span, 8 seconds. We treat people like content to scroll past. The cost, relationships without depth. You wonder why friendships fade, why your partner says you don't understand them. This is why. You're present in body, absent in mind. Epictetus said we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Research shows listening quality predicts relationship satisfaction more than speaking ability. Here's what you do. Someone's struggling. Mid-sentence, when they're really in it, you say, I'm listening. Then stop. Completely. Lean in. Maintain eye contact. Wait. When they finish, actually finish, count 3 seconds before you respond. This breaks people. We're terrified of silence. But that 3-second pause is where processing happens. Where they figure out what they meant. And here's the radical act. Phone face down. Screen closed. Show them nothing else matters right now. Neuroscience, mirror neurons. When you're truly present, your brain mirrors theirs. That's empathy at the neurological level. They feel it. Genuine listening triggers oxytocin, the bonding hormone. You trigger it just by being present. Not by solving problems. Not by being brilliant. By being there. Crisis intervention example, someone's breaking down. Standard instinct, fix it. What actually helps? I'm listening. Then silence. Let them empty out without interrupting. Relationships, they're upset. You could interrupt with, but I didn't mean it that way. Or, I'm listening. Then actually do it. You become the safe person. The one people come to when things are actually wrong. And here's what sounds impossible. People process their own solutions through your silence. They don't need your advice. They need to hear themselves think with a witness. Seneca wrote about silence as a great Stoic practice. Not because he was quiet, he was Rome's greatest orator. But because silence has power to heal, connect, and let truth emerge. I'm listening. Say it when someone needs to be heard, not fixed. Phrase 4, what do you need? For words that cut through every social game. Most people, when someone's struggling, say, "Let me know if you need anything." Sounds supportive. It's garbage. That phrase means, I'm offering help vaguely so I feel like a good person, but I'm putting the burden entirely on you to ask, which you won't because asking feels weak. It's the illusion of help. Or worse, you assume what they need. Show up with beer and advice when maybe they need silence. Or help moving. Or distraction. Marcus Aurelius, do every act as if it were your last. If this were your last conversation, would you waste it on vague offers? Yale study, specific offers get accepted 3 times more often than vague ones. Can I bring you dinner tomorrow? Gets a yes. Let me know if you need anything gets a polite decline. Here's what you do. Someone's struggling. You say, what do you need? Direct. Simple. No escape hatch. Their first response will probably be nothing, I'm fine. That's reflex. You don't accept it. I'm asking because I mean it. What do you actually need right now? Specificity makes help tangible, receivable, removes the burden of asking. Friend in crisis, what do you need? Someone to watch your kids? Help with your resume? To get out of your head? Tell me. Relationship, what do you need from me right now? Sometimes it's practical help. Sometimes presence. Sometimes space. Asking makes you partners. When you do this genuinely, you become indispensable. Not because people depend on you, because you actually meet real needs. Years later, they remember you were the one who showed up and asked directly. Epictetus taught we have a duty to help others. Not duty like burden. Duty like function. Action over sympathy. Feeling bad for someone changes nothing. Doing something changes everything. Caveat, sometimes helping harms. When you enable instead of support. Your limits matter. You can't help everyone. When you can't, say so, I want to help, but I don't have bandwidth right now. What do you need? For words that turn vague intentions into specific actions. Phrase 5, I remember when you. 5 words that make people feel known across time. Most people live entirely in the present. Each interaction is its own island. No continuity. No thread connecting then to now. It's shallow. Watch what happens when someone references something specific from your shared past. Not just the event, but details. What you said. How you reacted. You feel seen. Not just in this moment, but across moments. Like you matter enough to have been remembered. Marcus Aurelius started his meditations by listing specific lessons from specific people. Not generic praise. Specific memories. He was the emperor. He chose to remember. Southampton University. Nostalgia increases social connectedness by 43%. When you reference the past, you strengthen the present. Here's the approach. You're with someone. You say, I remember when you. But, don't just recall an event. Recall character. Not, I remember when you got that promotion. But, I remember when you got that promotion and immediately thanked the team. You were glowing, but you kept redirecting credit. That's who you are. See the difference? One acknowledges an accomplishment. The other acknowledges character. The detail matters. Generic memory is empty. I remember when you drove 3 hours to help me move at midnight. You had work the next morning and showed up anyway. That proves you were paying attention then and still care now. Reconnecting with old friends, I remember when you talked me through that panic attack in college. You sat with me for 2 hours. You didn't fix it, you just stayed. I still think about that. Partner doubting themselves, I remember when you launched that project everyone said would fail. You were terrified. You did it anyway. You've done hard things before. When you do this consistently, you stand out. Most people have mayfly memory. You have continuity, depth. You see them not just as they are, but as they've been. Memento mori, remember you will die. Remember they will die. The time you have is finite. So pay attention. Remember. Because one day the only thing left will be memories. I remember when you. Prove you were paying attention. Add weight to every interaction. Phrase 6, no, but thank you. The hardest to say. The most necessary to master. Saying no feels like violence. Like you're a bad person for not being available to everyone for everything. So you don't say it. You say maybe. You say let me check my schedule. Anything except the truth. Or you say yes when you mean no. Now you're trapped in resentment, spending time you don't have on something you don't care about. Watch what happens to people who can't say no. Exhausted, overcommitted, calendar full but life empty. And nobody respects them. If you say yes to everything, your yes means nothing. Cato the Younger was offered power, money, status. He said no to all of it. And because he couldn't be bought, he couldn't be dismissed. Marcus Aurelius, you have power over your mind, not outside events. You control your yes. You control your no. University of Zurich, clear boundaries increase respect by 67%. Here's the formula. Someone asks something you don't want to give or can't afford to give. You say, no, but thank you. Complete sentence. Refusal plus gratitude. The but thank you keeps the relationship intact while maintaining the boundary. No alone sounds harsh. No, but thank you says, I appreciate the thought. My answer is still no. The finality matters. Maybe is an open door for pressure. Let me think about it means they'll ask again. No, but thank you is complete. Psychology, nice people who can't refuse are actually resented. Because they're dishonest. They say yes when they mean no. People feel it. Clear no equals trustworthy yes. When people know you can refuse, they know your agreement is real. Professional favor, no, but thank you for thinking of me. They might push back. You don't negotiate. I'm not available for that. Social obligation, no, but thank you for the invitation. No lie. No excuse. Honest refusal. When you start doing this, your yes becomes valuable. When you show up, they know you chose to be there. People stop testing your boundaries. You gain time for what actually matters. Epictetus, some things are up to us, some are not. Your time is up to you. Other people's disappointment? Not your responsibility. Virtue requires boundaries. Being good doesn't mean being available. It means being honest. The dark side, no reveals who values you versus who uses you. Friends who can't handle boundaries weren't friends. They were people who liked that you were available. You'll be lonely for a while. That gap between releasing wrong people and finding right ones. Most people give up here. Don't. No, but thank you. Protect your time. Make your yes meaningful. Prove you value yourself.